Kumusta po sa mga viewers? Welcome to my channel. I am Attorney Elmer Lucero. As my first upload, I will be discussing the basic rights of an employee or yung mga pangunahing karapatan ng isang empleyado. You can support me by subscribing to my channel and clicking the notification bell para mas marami pa tayong upload na legal related videos na kagaya nito. So, let's begin. Ano-ano po ba ang mga pangunahing karapatan ng isang manggagawa o empleyado? What are the basic rights of an employee? Una po ay yung right to equal employment or work opportunities or yung pantay na oportunidad para makapagtrabaho. Pursuant to Article 13, Section 3 of the 1987 Constitution, the state shall afford full protection to labor, local and overseas, organized and unorganized, and promote full employment and equality of employment opportunities for all. Article 3 of the Labor Code substantially provides that the state shall protect labor, promote full employment, and provide equal work opportunity regardless of gender, race, or creed. Ano po ba ang ibig sabihin ng providing equality of employment or work opportunities for all? Ang ibig sabihin po niyan ay employers are prohibited to discriminate in terms of hiring, job training, promotion, compensation, and other privileges and conditions of employment on account of one's sex, age, marital status, pregnant status, solo parent status, disability, mental health condition, ethnicity, actual perceived or suspected HIV status, having tuberculosis, having hepatitis B, having cancer or being a cancer survivor, or union membership. Sa makatuwid po, it is unlawful for an employer to require a condition of employment that a woman employee shall not get married, or to stipulate expressly or tacitly that a woman employee shall be deemed dismissed upon marriage. Bawal po yan. Also, pregnancy shall not be a ground for non-hiring or termination from employment. As a matter of fact, violation of this rule is punishable by imprisonment ranging from 1 month to 6 months or a fine of 10,000 pesos to 100,000 pesos or both. Companies are also prohibited to discriminate a qualified person with disability. Okay? Regarding job application, hiring, job training, promotion, compensation, and other terms and conditions of employment by reason of his or her disability, violation of which is punishable by imprisonment ranging from 6 months to 2 years or a fine of 50,000 pesos to 100,000 pesos just for the first offense. Kaya po, humahaba po yung period of imprisonment at tumataas po yung halaga ng fine kapag paulit-ulit po na ginagawa yung ganitong paglabag. Pangalawa, right to security of tenure. Every employee shall be assured security of tenure or yung kasiguraduhan na hindi basta-basta matatanggal sa trabaho ang isang manggagawa na hindi naayon sa batas. Ano ba itong security of tenure? Security of tenure is the right of an employee as mandated by the 1987 Constitution that protects him or her against unjust termination from employment by the employer. This rights protects the employee against unjust termination from employment. This is also in line with Article 13, Section 3 of the 1987 Constitution and Article 3 of the Labor Code, which I already mentioned previously. To state differently, the rule is that no employee can be dismissed from work except for a just or authorized cause, and only after due process. I will just do a quick discussion on just and authorized causes for termination and will upload a follow-up video discussing each ground, including the mandatory due process requirement in the coming days. Tanong, Attorney, ano po ba itong just cause to dismiss an employee? Kapag sinabi natin just cause, this refers to fault or negligence committed by an employee. Kaya, a dismissal for just cause is based on the employee's fault. However, to be considered a just cause for termination, the improper actions committed by an employee against the employer or co-employee must be serious in nature and related to the employee's duties. What are the just causes for termination? We have serious misconduct, willful disobedience of a lawful order, gross and habitual neglect of duties, fraud or willful breach of trust, commission of a crime or offense against the employer, and other similar causes. Ano naman itong authorized cause? Authorized cause refers to circumstances that are not the employee's fault. Can be further classified as business-related or health-related. What are the examples of authorized causes for termination? We have installation of labor-saving devices or automation, redundancy, retrenchment to prevent losses, closure and cessation of business, and disease or illness. Number three is the right of an employee to be paid for all hours worked, or yung karapatan na mabayaran yung lahat ng oras na nagtrabaho ang isang empleyado. When an employee reports for work on a workday o yung mga araw na ang empleyado ay regularly required magtrabaho and has performed his or her duties during work hours or yung mga oras na ang isang empleyado ay aktwal na nagtatrabaho or is required to be on duty or to be at a prescribed workplace, the said employee should be paid his or her wage for all hours worked. Again, the rule is that an employee must be paid his or her wages for all hours worked. If he or she works for more than 8 hours in one day, he shall be entitled to overtime pay, which is an additional compensation of 25% of the regular wage. Meanwhile, overtime work during holiday or rest day is subject to an additional 30%. Employers should take note, however, that they cannot offset undertime by requiring overtime because of the different computation between the two. And if all or any part of his or her regular work hours fall between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., a covered employee shall be entitled to a night shift differential pay of not less than 10% of the employee's regular wage for each hour of work performed during this period. Number 4 is the right to receive wage and wage-related benefits. This right is related to the right to be paid for all hours worked. Again, the rule is that any kind of work done that is not compensated is a violation of the employee's rights. Ano nga ba itong sinasabing wage? Under the Labor Code, wage is the amount paid to an employee in exchange for a task, piece of work, or service rendered to an employer. This amount paid, as mentioned previously, shall include overtime pay, night shift differential pay, rest day pay, holiday pay, and 13-month pay. It also includes the fair and reasonable value of board and lodging and other facilities customarily furnished or yung kadalasang or normal na binibigay ng or kasama na sa binibigay ng isang empleyado ng kanyang employer. Number 5 is the right of an employee to a weekly rest day or lingguhang pahinga. Ano nga bang ibig sabihin ng weekly rest day? Under the Labor Code, all employers must give their employees a rest day of at least 24 hours for every 6 consecutive regular workdays. Ang ibig sabihin, kung ang work schedule ng isang empleyado ay from Monday to Saturday, his or her employer should give the same employee the next day, which is Sunday, as the employee's rest day. Kung Tuesday to Sunday naman yung work schedule ng empleyado, the next day, which is Monday, shall be the employee's rest day. Employers must compensate employees required or permitted to work during rest day with an additional 30% of the regular wage. Moreover, employers only need to provide additional compensation on Sundays if it is the worker's scheduled rest day. Number 6 is the right to the payment of wages or yung karapatan na makatanggap ng sahod. Wage may be fixed for a given period as when it is computed hourly, daily, or monthly. Wage may also be fixed for a specified task or result. If wage is for a fixed period, the minimum wage for a regular 8-hour work shall not be lower than the minimum daily wage applicable to the place of work. If wage is paid by result, the worker shall receive at least the prescribed minimum wage for 8 hours of work. The amount may be increased or reduced if work is rendered for more or less than 8 hours a day. What are the rules in the payment of wages? First, wages must be paid directly to the employee. Dapat yung empleyado mismo yung tumanggap ng sahod niya. Second, the payment shall be in cash, in legal tender, and or near the place of work. Payment of wages may be made through a bank, provided it is with written petition of the majority of all the employees in the establishments with 25 or more employees and within 1 kilometer radius to a bank. Third, wages shall be given not less than once every 2 weeks or twice a month at intervals not exceeding 16 days. It is also a rule that employers cannot make any deduction from an employee's wage except for insurance premiums without the consent of the employee. Deduction can also be made for union dues or for withholding taxes, SSS premiums, and other deductions expressly authorized by law. Number 7 is the right to the installation of welfare facilities for women employees or yung paglalagay ng mga pasilidad para sa mga babaeng empleyado. The Labor Code as amended, particularly Article 130, provides that the Secretary of Labor and Employment shall establish standards that will ensure the health and safety of women employees. And to ensure the health and safety of women employees, the DOLE Secretary, by regulations, shall require any employer, in appropriate cases, to, first, provide seats proper for women and permit them to use such seats when they are free from work and during working hours, provided they can perform their duties in this position without detriment to efficiency. Second, establish separate toilet rooms and lavatories for men and women, and provide at least a dressing room for women. Third, establish a nursery in a workplace for the benefit of women employees. And lastly, determine appropriate minimum age and other standards for retirement or termination of women employees in special occupation such as those of flight attendants and the like. Number 8 is the right pertaining to the employment of children. And the rule is that hiring a minor without parental consent is against the law. Also, minors cannot engage in any jobs that may be considered a hazard or threat to their well-being. Under the Labor Code, the minimum employment age is 15 years old. The rule is that any worker below 15 years of age should be directly under the sole responsibility of their parents or guardians, provided that the work does not interfere with the child's schooling or development. The minimum age of employment is 18 years for hazardous jobs or yung may panganib na trabaho, and 15 years for non-hazardous jobs or yung walang panganib na trabaho. Number 9 is the right to a safe working conditions or yung karapatan sa ligtas na kondisyon sa pagtatrabaho. The workplace should not cause injury or sickness. Employers have to make sure the venue of work for their employees is safe and conducive for working. With the employer's obligation to make sure that the venue of work is a safe working environment, the Labor Code, particularly Article 162, provides that every employer shall keep in his establishment such first aid medicines and equipment as the nature and conditions of work may require. The employer shall take steps for the training of a sufficient number of employees in the first aid treatment. Also, Article 163 of the Labor Code provides that it shall be the duty of every employer to furnish his employees in any locality with free medical and dental attendance and facilities consisting of the services of a full-time registered nurse when the number of employees exceeds 50 but not more than 200, except when the employer does not maintain hazardous workplaces, in which case the services of a graduate first aider shall be provided for the protection of workers where no registered nurse is available. B. The services of a full-time registered nurse, a part-time physician, and dentist, and an emergency clinic when the number of employees exceeds 200 but not more than 300. And the services of a full-time physician, dentist, and a full-time registered nurse, as well as dental clinic and an infirmary or emergency hospital with one bed capacity for every 100 employees when the number of employees exceeds 300. Number 10 is the right to self-organization and collective bargaining or yung karapatang bumuo ng organisasyon para sa sama-samang pakikipagkasundo sa employer. Every worker has the right to self-organization, to form or to join any legitimate workers' union, free from interference of their employer or the government. All workers may join a union for the purpose of collective bargaining and is eligible for union membership on the first day of their employment. Ano nga ba itong collective bargaining? Collective bargaining is a process by which two parties, namely the employer and the employees' union or representative, where the terms and conditions of employment are fixed and agreed upon. In collective bargaining, the two parties also decide upon the method for resolving grievances or para resolbahin yung mga hinanaing ng mga empleyado. Collective bargaining results in a contract called a collective bargaining agreement or CBA. Other basic rights include the employee's compensation benefit for work-related contingencies such as medical benefits for sickness or injuries, disability benefits, rehabilitation benefits, death and funeral benefits, and pension benefits.